Hi, I'm Lori Betts. Welcome to Golden Years. Happy fall. This month I am featuring the Better Business Bureau of Akron, Tracy, Kraka, and she is going to give us some updates on all the crazy scams that are out there. So stay tuned and you will learn a lot.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
You're watching The Bat.
Hi, Tracy. Thanks
Hello.
for joining Golden Years this month.
Glad to be here.
And I think you have a very interesting job. The Better Business Bureau, you know all the ins and outs, what is happening in all of our lives. And you're going to make us aware of what is happening, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the history of the Better Business Bureau.
Well, we've been around for over 100 years. And what happened was there was a time, like when the snake oil business was going on, that other businesses were getting a bad rap in their advertising and everything. So ethical businesses, good businesses got together and decided we need to do something about making sure that the public can trust us, the good guys. And so that's what generated the idea of the Better Business Bureau. And from there we've grown to helping consumers understand what's going on in the marketplace, giving them lots of information, business reviews on the website, and just helping them trust businesses in their area and who they're working with, and giving them a place to look up businesses.
And I know I'm going to throw in, you do have a new feature on your website.
Yes.
And it's called the Scam Tracker.
Exactly right.
Okay.
And that's where consumers can go if they have been scammed or they think they might have been, someone has attempted to try and scam them. Then they can go to this website. They can actually see the United States and where different places are on the United States where different scams are happening by number, and they can click on see what's going on in that area of the country. But not only that, they can report scams, so they can put the information in, and so that information updates so folks can see what's going on and what to be aware of, like right now and what's going on.
God, that's an awesome tool. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm a senior sitting at home, drinking my coffee, my phone rings. What are the hot scams that are out there and the seniors need to be aware of?
Exactly. One of the ones is probably the most common is you've won $5,000 or whatever, either by sweepstakes or you've won a grant or the lottery or something or other. And the first question I always ask, well, did you apply for a grant? Well, no. Well, then President Obama isn't going to authorize, this bunch of money to you if you didn't even apply for a grant, because there's all kinds of things that go into applying for a grant. So it's just not going to happen because you, and one person did tell me, well, it says here because I pay my bills on time.
God, so gullible.
And because, economically it's rough on seniors sometimes, if that can help them, they tend to kind of listen and find out, well, how is this going to work for me? How am I going to get this money? And then the other thing I will ask, it's a big red flag, is are they asking you to spend money? Are they asking you to pay any kind of fees or anything? And generally they do, and they'll, it's $20, $30, sometimes $100. And I'll say you never have to pay to win, you never have to pay. So you may have to pay to enter a sweepstakes or a lottery or something, but never to win. And that's your big red flag, and you should hang up on them. The other thing with lotteries, it's a federal offense to do them internationally. So if somebody tells you that they're in the Cayman Islands or Nigeria or whatever, and you've won, you haven't, hang up as fast as you can.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
In another scam, I was with my mother, stayed over her house last week for like 3 days. She won 3 trips. That phone rings and it says, "Congratulations, Josephine, you have won a trip." You know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And you know they want that credit card.
Yes.
So to either pay for the fee or maybe airfare, you know, whatever it is.
Right. Right.
And then the other one is lifelines. You are getting your new lifeline free, no charge. You just have to pay for shipping for the box to come to your home.
Right.
Red flag. If you don't have someone scheduled to come to your house
Yes.
to install that lifeline, don't even go there.
Exactly. Exactly. And like you said, it's because they're looking for a credit card number to charge up against. Although it's safer to give your credit card number than a debit card. You don't have the same protection on a debit as you do credit cards. So if you suspect, and oftentimes those people will say, now this is a deal just for you. Don't tell your family, don't tell anyone else because this is just for you. Well, they're trying to make sure that a caregiver, a son, daughter is not saying, "Oh, Mom, you need to cancel that," or "Oh, Dad, you need to cancel that," and go to your credit card and tell them. The chances of that actually going through are much greater.
And I know they ask for the person's name, so if the person's not on the phone, they will hang up automatically. I've had that happen to me.
Yeah.
Okay, but all that being said, what about the no call?
The do not call
Do
list.
not call list.
Right.
Did that go
right.
away, or?
No, it's still here and it's still working. The thing you want to keep in mind is it's legitimate businesses abide by the do not call registry. If you're still getting calls, it's probably a tip to you that it's not legitimate because these are criminals and scammers. They're not going to obey the law anyway. They're trying to scam you out of money to begin with. So why would they obey the law on the do not call list?
Very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. In the IRS, are they really going to call you on the telephone to say
Never.
you owe money?
Right, never. The IRS does not call. They will send you official notification if there's something going on. And generally folks know that they owe money. So if a call comes out of the blue and they're saying you owe money and you need to pay us right away because the sheriff's going to show up at your door on Monday, you know, I've had folks really scared that the police was coming for them. And it's taken several calls to calm them down and say they're not really coming. They're not really coming. And if you're fearful, come to BBB and sit with me and I'll sit with you for a while so you know that you're safe. But it's very much a scam and they're using an awful tactic, intimidation, to make people pay. And they'll say you need to wire the money or a green dot card or something like that because it's untraceable. Once the money's taken off, you can't figure out who just took the money. So those are not quite safe ways to pay for things.
So would you say like 1 out of 10 calls, like half of them are successful?
Well, it's enough that they keep it up. They're making a living on scamming people. So it's unfortunate, and you would think, you know, either BBB or the FTC or someone out there, you know, legal entities would be able to stop these people, but they're crafty. I mean, they really.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's just like they're at home thinking these plots up. And if it works, like you said, they're going to keep trying it.
And they're sending out thousands and thousands of all these different kinds of things, you know, hoping they're going to get a return. Even if they get a 10% return, they're making a living. And they're just, you know, people just don't know, which is part of what BBB is out there for, is to try and educate the public and warn them, and here's the latest thing going on. So that's what we're trying to do, like with things like this being out, you know, talking about it. We go to expos and community events to, you know, to try and talk to people, provide information. Everything BBB does is free to consumers.
That's good. And they're on both sides of the fence. So if like someone were to put in a complaint about a business, because it has happened to me, as nice as I am,
Yeah, it's
and being in retail, it's going to happen. I mean,
Sure.
sometimes you're going to get that customer that you cannot please, and then they're going to turn you in because they think they have a story. They think
Right.
they have a correct story, even though my incident was with the mother of a daughter. So the mother wasn't even there. I mean, but she wrote a nasty letter. So I was given the opportunity to write back.
Yes, yes.
And
And that's
tell
the
them my
biggest
side.
thing that I would say is a benefit to businesses, is they get the chance to give their side of the story. And that's fair to consumers too, to know, if a business is going to step up on their behalf, if they care about what's happening to consumers. So it's a good balance, I think, because consumers get both sides of the story. It's
That's
just
good.
not
That's good.
10 customers ranting about things without the business being able to say, but we follow the contract, they signed a contract. Landscapers have a hard time because they're very customer oriented, you know.
definitely.
So
Yeah.
sometimes not all of them are great, but there are legitimate, wonderful businesses out there that really go above and beyond
So
to
you
try
must
and make.
get a lot of consumer complaints?
We get
In
quite
every
a number
field.
of them, and across the board. Yes, there are some that we don't handle. Renter, landlord, you know, that goes to the housing authority.
That could be your whole career.
Sure. And when it comes to professionals like legal and doctors and that type of thing, if there's kind of a billing discrepancy or something going on, we'll handle that. But if it's about the service that, you know, we think he gave us a wrong diagnosis, then you go to the medical board or you go to the dental board or that type of thing. We can't get in the middle of that kind of thing. Or if it's already in court, we have no authority over the court and what they decide, so we can't handle those. So.
But I know consumers like to throw up, you know, like if they come in the store, they'll say, okay, I'm going to Better Business Bureau if they're not happy. Because people are people, and you can't, you're not going to make everybody happy.
And all we ask is that a business make a good faith effort. You know, if they answer a complaint and give their side of the story, that's great. They've made an effort to try and explain their side of the story. Now, if there's talk of a contract, like, you know, landscaping or construction work or that type of thing, and somebody brings up about a contract, can you provide a copy of the contract? And we'll look, did both parties sign it? Is everything spelled out what you were complaining about? Well, then the business made a good faith effort to try and explain why they were doing what they were doing. I had a gentleman call one time, and he said that he had a salesman walked in and was going to sell him one of those great big tall chests of tools and that type of thing. And he's like, okay. And the fellow says, we can do financing for you. All you have to do is sign the contract right here. And the fellow says, oh, well, can I think about it? And he goes, I'm not going to be in the area until, you know, a month from now or whatever. And I don't know that I'm going to have enough of these. And he said, okay. And he signed it. Well, then his boss looked at the contract. It was like 27% interest on it. And, you know, he was like, oh my goodness. And he called me saying, you know, the guy tried to scam me. And I said, well, did you sign a contract? And he said, yes. And I said, well, you have a signed contract. I said, did you read the contract before you signed it? Well, no. So it's kind of hard to decide. You know, that's why you hear all the time, read your contract before you sign it. It protects you.
It's just so scary that everything is out there.
Yeah.
And like I said, especially with senior, you know, they might not get a lot of phone calls. So to them, every time the phone rings, it might be important to get there and to hear it.
Right.
And I know my mother-in-law says, I know someone's on the other end. And I said, well, that's the computer kicking in. But the elderly can't understand that it's a computer world. And a lot of times it's all automation.
And they're being nice. They're taught to be polite. I mean, we're all taught to be polite. But I think a younger generation is more apt to say, and not even say anything, just hang up the phone, where older folks are like, well, I don't think I'm really interested, you know, and they're trying to be polite and kind.
Yeah, they still want to be polite, yeah.
Yes, and you just really don't have to, especially like you said with a computer. There's no reason you need to be kind or polite.
Yeah,
hang
there's
up
no
the phone.
stopping it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just hang up the phone.
Very good points. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and she's going to tell us more updates about what's going on in the Bureau. So come on back.
sweetheart, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning. Why?
Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Welcome back. I'm Lori Betts from Golden Years, and I'm interviewing Tracy from the Better Business Bureau. And we are discussing all the scams that unfortunately are happening to us. So Tracy is here giving us updates. And Tracy, what counties are you in?
Better Business Bureau of Akron covers Medina, Summit, Portage, Ashland, Richland, and Wayne counties. So any business, any consumers in those areas, that's who we try to help and reach out to.
That's a lot of phone calls.
It can be a lot of phone calls, yes.
So
we encourage consumers to call us. We want them to call us.
Well, yeah, because if they have an issue, I mean, you could be on the phone from morning till night.
Yes. Hours are 9 to 4, so we do get an hour before and an hour at the end of the day where we can.
Is it automated?
It is automated, yes, but we have had seniors tell us that at least it's easy
that's good.
to follow and understand. So,
okay, what tips can you tell the seniors to protect themselves?
I would say understanding some of the tactics that fraudsters use. There's psychological, emotional tactics that actually FINRA has helped us identify as things that they go after. And you might find if someone calls you or somebody is trying to get you to buy something from them, whether it's a service or a product, they will engage you in conversation because they're trying to get more information about you. Tell me about, do you have children? Are you married? Have you lived here all your life? You know, they're trying to get those personal details because then that's how they find target points to get to you emotionally. They find out what's important to you. And one of the things that they'll do is, and I'm sure everybody's seen this on Home Shopping Network or QVC or those type of programs, and not that they are being scammers by any means, but you will see some of those same type of things. Just scammers take this to the nth degree. But like scarcity, there's only a few left, or a limited time. So like on QVC, you'll see there's the diminishing number available, okay? And then there's phantom riches, one of the other things. You know, I've always dreamed of having a house on the beach. And so, you know, they'll try to say, you know, you can be just as happy with this. You've seen the commercials where they show people just thrilled to death with their new car, or if you shop at this store, you feel like $1 million. Well, that's phantom riches. Those are those appealing to the things that we want. One of the other ones is reciprocity. If I do something for you, you're more apt to do something for me. So if they're giving you a big discount, you know, normally I can only give you 25%, but today I can give you 30 if you think you can help me out here. Well, you kind of have that tendency to help out if somebody's doing something for you. There was a professor in a very small town in one of the university areas, I think up in New England, and he decided one year he was going to send out a Christmas card to everybody in town. And he got the phone book and he filled out Christmas cards, and it was probably about 600 or so, I would say, not a big town, just to see what would happen. He got a card from almost everyone he sent it to, because you get something from someone, you think, I kind of have to give back. And it's like the little address labels that you get at Christmas time with a request to send a donation. Before they started doing that, they got some donations, but it wasn't a lot. But as soon as they started sending those labels, giving increased dramatically.
And how does that happen?
It's just how we're wired. You do something for me, I feel like I've got to do something for you in some way. So that's reciprocity, and scammers will use that. One of the other ones is social consensus. Everybody else is doing it. So if they find out, you know, where you go to church, oh, you know, I've sold to a couple of people where you go to church. And you kind of think, well, if they think it's okay, maybe it is all right. even though they've probably never talked to them. So they're trying to use this idea of other people accepting it, so it must be okay. Yeah. And then the last one is source credibility. Anybody can dress up in a suit and tie and, you know, copiers, you put a little plaque up on the wall and it looks like that they're credible, that they're real. They can sell you whatever, you know, I mean, even insurance or securities or all kinds of things, which is really important to check out a person to make sure that their credentials are real.
Definitely.
You've seen Candid Camera, right?
Oh, yeah.
They did a bit one time where they had a guy dress up in like khaki pants and a nice crisp white shirt and a tie, and he had an official looking hat on and a clipboard. And he stood on the road, I think it was in Vermont, and as cars came up, he would walk up to the car and say, "I'm sorry, the state of Vermont is closed today. You'll have to come back tomorrow." And people were like, "Really? They closed the state today?" And he's going, "Yeah. Okay." And I mean, people would turn around and leave. Or one woman said, "Well, can I go to New Jersey?" "Sure, you can go to New Jersey. They're open today." But the fact that he looked official and he said that that was what was going on, people believed it. So just being aware that that source credibility thing could be not check people out, check them out.
Yeah. Take time in making a decision.
Yes.
Because when you made the comment that just today, I'm going to give you this offer.
Right.
You know, a lot of people want to jump on it.
Exactly. I won't have another chance. You'll have tons of chances.
It's just scary. What about junk mail? Junk mail.
Junk mail. There is a phone number and a website that you can reduce the amount of junk mail that you get. And if you give us a call, we'll be glad to give you that information.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So
a junk mail and even credit card offers or credit card information, there's a website and phone number that you can call to get off those lists so you don't get that stuff in the mail as often.
Oh, that's good. I know they did a TV story one time at one of the assisted livings. The mail person was there, and just the junk mail that they had to stuff in those boxes.
Yes.
And
I mean, can you imagine carrying that all around? The poor postman.
Oh, I know. And I keep referring to my mother-in-law, but now I'm getting her mail because she's in assisted living. So, and it used to be she would get piles and piles of stuff, and she would think she would have to read everything, you know? So, I mean, now I'm getting less because, well, they probably really, when you said the return label says, you know, this has been forwarded.
Yes.
They don't forward all that junk now. So I only get the important stuff. But you just find piles of stuff. And even I'm going to make this comment too, even when you donate to one charity, I don't know how it spreads out, but all of a sudden my mother gets stacks of charities. And those address labels, I mean, they're just multiplying. So it's just like, you know what, we're cutting these people off. You know, you donated all these years, it's time to quit.
Yes.
You know, your charity starts at home, so that's what we're doing.
We need to take care of her,
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
We even do reviews on charities as well. So if someone has a question before they start donating to a charity, look it up on bbb.org.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, that's a very good point. I mean, because there are people that, okay, they do have their favorite charities, and they will donate to X amount of charities. You have your passions. Oh, but I didn't know you can do that.
Oh, I had a poor woman call one time. She said that she had been donating to this company for 2 years, giving $200 a month. And she said, I had to call them and tell them I could only donate $100 a month because my income is limited. And they got really angry with me. And I said, you know, and in my head I'm going, oh no, oh no, oh no. And so I looked them up and they're not a legitimate company. They're not a legitimate, you know, charity. And I said, please don't send them any more money at all. You're just supporting some guy that got you to give him money. And, you know, I mean, I felt so bad for her because then in her head, she's feeling almost foolish for having fallen for that. And I don't want to make anybody feel that way, but at the same time, stop sending money altogether. I mean, and she really had to be convinced. Are you sure? Are you sure? I'm absolutely positive. Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. That is. So he got away with it.
Yes. So check everything. Check a business, check charities, And you can do that on bbb.org. And that's one of the things that, before you spend money, before, you see an offer, look for the seal is our campaign right now, is check to see if there's a BBB seal where you're doing business. Those are companies that we have vetted. We have checked them out with the state of Ohio, with the Attorney General's office. We've checked their website to make sure they're not promising anything they shouldn't. And those accredited businesses are vetted that way every year. We check them every year to make sure they're maintaining those standards. And what's really good for consumers to know is if you do have a complaint with them, they've promised to make a really good effort to try and make things right for them. So you have an avenue there. But checking businesses, you can look by types of business. If you need somebody to come in and do your windows, look for window companies that are accredited on our website, or call us. We'll give you those. We'll give you those over the phone if you need it.
So are you like Angie's List, or?
Are we like Angie's
Yeah.
List?
Better? It sounds like you go more into detail.
We go into a lot of details, and like I said, we give the business the benefit of responding.
Okay.
We don't publish anything until we have alerted the business and given them an opportunity to respond.
Okay.
And try to make things right for the consumer. Because I think it says more for a business that has a complaint that they have gone out of their way to make things right for them than it does to have a business with no complaints at all. You don't know how they're going to respond if you do. Now, have we vetted them? Absolutely. And we believe them to be a good business. But until something goes wrong, we don't know how they'll respond to a consumer if there was a problem.
That's a very good point. Because I know I do hear Angie's List on the radio a lot. I have never gone there. But then you just think if you hear it in your head all the time, then should I go and see if they're...
And you have to pay to be a member with Angie's List. We're free.
Oh, okay. That's another good point. You are a wealth of information. Do you want to leave my viewers any other great comments or advice?
I would say just before you spend money, check. Don't do anything impulsively. Don't spend right away. Don't say yes to an offer until you talk to somebody. I mean, getting each other's feedback on things is great. Talk to your friends or talk to your family, before you spend money, and then check with BBB, either by phone call or website, look things up.
So the number's on the screen. So before you make that big purchase, definitely call BBB and get their opinion, because it doesn't hurt. It might
More
save you some
information
dollars.
helps. Yes.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad you were on my show
Thank
this
you.
month.
Yes.
So buyer beware. So watch those phone calls. And if you think it's a true offer, think twice. Well, thank you for joining us this month, and we'll see you next month.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.